I was only 22, she began, bright, hopeful, and in love. His name was Richard. We met in college. He was charming, ambitious, the kind of man who could talk his way into any heart. We married young. Everyone said we were perfect together. I believed them. Her eyes darkened. But perfection has cracks, and sometimes it's the person closest to you who widens them. A few years into the marriage, Evelyn discovered that Richard was having an affair, not just once, but for years. When she confronted him, he didn't apologize. Instead, he laughed and said, "You'll never leave me. You have nothing without me." That day, Evelyn whispered, something inside me broke. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just smiled. Because I made a promise one day he'd lose everything the way I did. She left him quietly with nothing but her dignity. Richard went on to build a successful business, remarried, and lived a life filled with money and pride. Evelyn, meanwhile, worked small jobs, saved every penny, and kept her pains tucked away like an old photograph. Years passed, decades even. People forgot her name, but she never forgot his. Then one day, opportunity came, knocking. Richard's company was being audited. Evelyn, by fate or irony, had been promoted in the accounting firm that handled his case. She had every document, every number, every secret at her fingertips. And when she saw what he'd been hiding, the fraud, the manipulation, the lies, she knew exactly what to do. I didn't hesitate, Evelyn said softly. I turned everything over. The government seized his assets, his company collapsed, and he was left penniless, the same way he left me years ago. The young woman listened, wide-eyed. So you got your revenge, she said. Did it make you feel better? Evelyn gave a sad smile. For a moment, yes. When I saw his face on the news, humiliated, broken, I felt victorious, but that feeling didn't last because when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't see a survivor. I saw a woman who had spent 40 years living for someone else's downfall. She sighed deeply, her eyes misting over. You see, revenge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. I wasted my youth, my peace, and my joy all for a man who had already forgotten me. And when justice finally came, it didn't set me free. It just reminded me how much of my life I'd lost chasing it. The young woman looked down, thinking of her own heartbreaks and grudges. Evelyn reached out, gently patting her hand. If someone hurts you, she said, don't make revenge your purpose. Make healing your victory. Build something for yourself, not against them. A small tear rolled down her wrinkled cheek as she whispered, I spent 40 years destroying him when I could have spent 40 years rebuilding me. The park grew quiet again. The sun dipped lower behind the trees that seemed casting long shadows across the grass. The young woman stood up, hugged her, and said softly, Thank you for sharing that. Evelyn smiled faintly and looked toward the fading light. Don't thank me, she murmured. Just don't make the same mistake I did. And as the wind carried the last of the autumn leaves past her feet, she closed her eyes, not in regret, but in peace, finally ready to let go of a lifetime she'd held on to for far too long.